This is Lon Winters with Graphic Elephants.
Dave Garrick with Atlas Screen Supply.
This is David Gross with Condi Systems.
Jimmy Lamb with Sawgrass.
And you are listening to the Two Regular Guys
podcast.
Hosted by Aaron Montgomery
and Terry Combs.
Ad lib here.
All right. Well, welcome to the show. It's Friday, December 28th, 2018, the last show of 2018. I'm Terry Combs with Equipment Zone, and you can also find me at terrycombs.com.
And I'm Aaron Montgomery, and you can find me at aaronmontgomery.info. Today, Terry, we are going to be having our annual conversation. I don't know how many years we've been doing this, but probably at least 5 or 6, huh?
Right, I think so.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about planning for next year, which is right around the corner, dude.
We spent a little time discussing it before we went on the air, and we both have a lot to do. So
yes. The things we've been putting off until 2019 are now upon us, Terry. Right. So busy.
Boy.
So
well, have a nice weekend coming up to work on those things, and we're smack dab in between Christmas and New Year's right now. So guessing that a lot of folks are going to be listening to us from home or in their shops, and everything's a little more calmed down. Aaron and you and I were having a conversation about that Christmas, Thanksgiving to Christmas rush, and everybody's taking a breath right now and hopefully listening to the Two Regular Guys.
Absolutely. Yeah. Speaking of getting caught up, I've got lots of work to do to get caught up from all the old episodes onto the audio version. So bear with me. We got a couple more to go here. Be doing that this afternoon. Got a couple people checking in with us already this morning. Terry, Christine Shreve from Enmart joining us this morning. Looking forward to having her comments. And we got to get back to her about the scheduled program, exciting stuff that we got coming up next year. And got Jeff and Rich, and good morning, everybody. So thank you so much for joining us here on the live version here on Facebook. Terry, how about a couple quick news items, and sure. We'll get moving here.
All right. Well, Aaron, the December issue of Printwear Magazine has a feature called Tech Forecast, and what technologies do you see emerging in 2019? So it's a lot like what you and I will be talking about next week when we're doing our 10 things we would like to see in 2019. Mm-hmm. This was a question posed to several industry experts with some interesting responses. And one thing I really like about Printwear Magazine is this is a kind of a common format for them, where they'll ask 15 or 20 industry folks some question and then drop in a 2-paragraph response. And I remember when I was an active screen printer, always loved those because there's always golden nuggets in there of ideas that you can use in your business. So we'll be posting that link, or you can go to Google and do Printwear Magazine. It'll take you to that online version.
All right, so go to the Google machine, everybody. No,
go to the Google machine.
yeah, we'll get that link posted. May even throw that out over social media here if I can find a little extra time here today. So, Terry, the news item that stood out to me that I wanted to share was SGA has created its first ever Convergence Council. The new council taps supplier executives from all printing industry segments to advise the association. The story goes on to read, in an unprecedented move, the Specialty Graphics Imaging Association, SGA, has created a supplier and manufacturer council, calling it the SMC, which is an elite group of industry leaders who will advise the association on issues and concerns related to the future success of their companies, their customers, and more importantly, the printing industry as a whole. So looking forward to seeing what comes out of that. We'll post a link to that article, and it has a list of all the folks on the council. So interesting representation across the breadth of the industry, as well as the SGA's kind of new focus on bringing things together as far as the print industry, packaging, all that kind of stuff, kind of all together with us garment decorators and other folks that have been involved with SGA for some time. So see how much they listen, I guess is.
Well, I haven't seen that list yet. I think it'll be interesting to see. I'm guessing there's some names on there that we know, Aaron, and I think it's going to be an interesting year for SGIA. A lot of things changing, and including the SGA Expo that's no longer the name. It's and it's escaping me, Aaron. What's the new name?
Yeah, Print United.
Print United, correct.
Printing or Print United. I'll have to double check that, but yeah, Print United, I believe is what it's called. Somebody can correct me in the comments if we've got it wrong there, Terry. Speaking of comments, Terry, Chuck says, "Good morning, Happy New Year." Chuck, Happy New Year to you. And Martha Taylor checking in this morning. Martha, good to have you along. And Terry, try not to ruffle any feathers today, would you?
I will do that. I understand it's snowing a lot of places, so but not here in Scottsdale.
All right.
I'm still in Polo. All right. Well, hey, we want to thank our regular listeners and anybody new listening today. And this is our last show of 2018. It's our 6th year on the air, coming up on starting number 7 in February, I think.
February, yep.
February, yeah. And our 6th year as the most listened to decorating industry podcast in the world. And if you have an idea for a future show, go to the Contact Us page at 2 Regular Guys. That's the number 2, regularguys.com. Or you can reach out to us on social media. We are everywhere as the number 2 Regular Guys. And if you're catching the live video via Facebook, please jump in and participate in the show. We'd love to hear your ideas.
Awesome. So Eric's commenting as the 2 Regular Guys today. I appreciate him helping out in the comments section over there. And he said, even here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, they've got 2 to 4 inches of snow. So no snow there in Scottsdale, right?
I've got like 12 inches of sunshine right now. But,
good solid 12 inches.
And it keeps coming down.
No end in sight. All right.
The haters are going to be going that strong now.
Here we go. Chilly San Antonio, 56 degrees. Yeah, it's in the 30s here in St. Louis, but no snow for me. So it looks like we're just going to get a little rain here, but no snow. So it was not a white Christmas, which was nice for the St. Louis area. All right, Terry. Well, real quick, I want to let people know about, let me get this up there on the screen as well. We ThreadX 19. It's time to register for ThreadX 19. It's happening February 17th through the 19th, 2019 in San Diego, California. The speaker list this year is amazing. So if you missed 2018, you cannot miss 2019. I know we've got some folks tuning in right now that are going to be joining us out there. So we're excited to catch up with them. This is a must-attend event with the MC of the event being Ricardo Crespo, who's a fantastic speaker, and then keynote speaker Benny Gold, who's a San Francisco-based streetwear brand and boutique, and keynote speaker Aaron Draplin, who is a design wizard. As far as my understanding of it, there are still spots available if you register early enough to sign up for an intimate hands-on workshop with Mr. Draplin. So only limited slots available there. So make sure you get over to threadxconference.com. That's what you see on the screen right now if you're catching the live version here. And again, we can't wait to see you there. Get over to threadxconference.com.
And the 2 Regular Guys will be there doing interviews and chatting with everybody. And if you don't recognize us, if you're listening to the podcast version, you don't know what we look like, we'll be the guys in the sublimated 2 Regular Guys logo ties. So
I got mine right here. There you go.
We'll be easy. We'll be easy to spot.
Oh, wait, I gotta get that over in the screen more. Sorry. There we go. There's mine.
Nice.
Hanging right here behind me. Terry, so we've started a weather report here. So let's get to some of these weather reports. Good morning from Lisa Shaw. She says, no snow in Colorado, but it's flipping cold.
Well, that keeps me right. No snow. What?
Yeah, what the heck? And then Carolyn says snow, heavy, wet snow. I believe Carolyn's up in the Minnesota area, if I remember right, from she apparently is not back in Brazil right now.
Right. Oh man. All right. Well, Aaron, are we ready to jump into planning for 2019?
Yeah, definitely. Let's. You want to kind of maybe give us a quick intro for those of you that have not been on this road with us before, kind of what we do, and then I'll let you jump in first.
Well, you know what you and I are both big time planners, and a few years ago we talked about, this is a great time of the year, and as I mentioned earlier in the show, this week between Christmas and New Year's is kind of a downtime for most businesses, a chance to catch your breath, and so we decided to do a show talking about things that we like to do ourselves for planning for the future, and every year we come up with new planning ideas. So that's what we're going to do, and we're going to go back and forth talking about some different things that you can do to plan for your own business. I see a few more weather reports popping up there.
We've got more. Oh, I missed one here. So Jess says Boston, 30, rainy, slushy, 60 degrees tomorrow. Yeah, Boston. I remember living there and it being a pretty wild weather place there. Jim Kalinsky, says 31 and raining this morning. And then Carolyn says she regrets her decision to not be in Brazil because it's summer there.
I was thinking the same thing when you said that.
So yes, that's why if you're watching on the live video feed, that's why I'm sitting here giggling as the comments come through. So I wasn't giggling at you, Terry. I agree. Planning, very important. That's why we do this every year. We actually block out this week every year for this show, so we don't slip anything else in there accidentally. So start us off, Terry. We've got some great stuff to get to here.
One real quick thing about Minnesota, DAX show is coming up. You and I were talking about it before the show started, and talking about getting our seminars together. And once all I did was walk up to the podium and say, "Hi, I'm Terry Combs. I just flew in from Scottsdale, Arizona," and the entire room started booing. Apparently, it had been a very, very harsh winter in Minnesota. They had no interest in where I was living. So, but I brought them back around. But
all right, well, good.
Okay,
all right. Well, let's bring this back around then.
All right. Well, one thing that's come up here in the last couple of years, and Aaron, the industry. I've never seen the industry make this big a shift in such a short amount of time as this. And I've been in the industry for a couple of years.
I didn't even have to make a joke on that one. That's good.
The term is industry veteran. but that shift has been to short runs. And so one planning thing that people should look at is there's a new mindset in the marketplace, and if you are not on board with short run printing, the time is at hand. And as our friend Mark Coudray said, if you're not doing some type of digital decorating, you're going to be left behind. Now, I always have to come back and say, listen, screen printing's not going anywhere, embroidery's not going anywhere. The long run production is still going to be there, but even that is getting parsed down to companies saying, I don't want to order 10,000 pieces. I want to order once every 2 weeks. And I want to order 500 pieces. And so everybody's got to buy into that. And Aaron, you and I do a lot of trade shows, and I hear this all the time when I talk to somebody who comes up to the Equipment Zone booth and says, well, my business isn't set up to do something like this. Well, you know what? You need to be set up to do it. But all of us, and I always ask this question, are you turning away business because it's below minimum? And every single person says, yeah, I'm turning it away. Well, guess what? It's not going to get better. It's going to get worse for you, because more and more customers are going to say this to you. The garment decorating marketplace has seen this shift in three ways. It's individualization, customization for quantities as small as one, and the prevailing customer mindset of I want it right now. Yeah. That's not going to go away. Amazon/Skynet has changed the world, and you got to be on board with it. And I'm not saying that stop what you're doing, or you've got 4 automatic presses and you have to run 15 pieces on it. I'm saying that you have to have the option as part of your business. And if your business isn't set up for it, then set up a division that's going to be capable of doing this, because that division is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger in your business, because the world is a whole new place now. And short run is not going away. It's going to be the future. It is the future. And it came on us, Aaron, as you know, I mean, over the last 3 or 4 years to be such an integral part of what we do. So I was just talking to the folks at Impressions Magazine, and they're doing a cover of maybe I shouldn't say, but it's going to be it's going to be a digital decorating cover. So, everybody sees it coming. If you are one of those people that says, we're not set up for that kind of business, you need to plan for it 2019 and take this week to think about how you're going to do it. And you know what? You don't have to go out and buy a sublimation printer. You don't have to go out and buy a direct-to-garment printer necessarily to get started. There are plenty of folks out there that will do contract work for you while you get going. So you can do this for a minimal investment, but start offering those short run quantities. And here's the great thing about it, and a lot of people don't realize this, is you can demand a premium for this. The prevailing price for a direct-to-garment printed T-shirt is $20. So when with a cost of roughly $5 for a dark T-shirt, you can make some money at $20. And even if you're contracting it, you could still probably make $7 to $10 a garment. So, I think once you get involved in it, you're going to say, hey, you know what? This is really beneficial to my business.
Yeah. Yep, totally. And I mean, Terry, we talked with Sarah from Advantages Magazine not too terribly long ago about how these types of things are changing the promotional products world too. Exactly. So it's not just garment decorating, even though there's a lot of garment decorating in the promotional products world. I mean, all industries are being affected. I mean, you can go out and read all sorts of stuff on all sorts of different industries, the Amazon effect and how that changes things. And I think, we got to be ready for that too. And so, like you said, taking this planning time and looking ahead at how can I do this? Like you said, great idea to use a contractor to get started. So that way you can kind of feel out what's going to be the best route for you. Carolyn here shared Short Run is where I have finally been making a mark in my area. It's now referred to me from other shops. The smaller, the more complicated it is. I am sent those, so she's found her mark there. So
yeah,
here's another one, Terry. Good stuff. So
yeah, it says Jeff says we are set up for it. Individual orders, print, embroidery, rhinestones ship in 1 to 3 days. Larger runs take longer. We guide customers to designs that can be done in using different technologies based on quantity. Designs that can be done in vinyl or screen print. Vinyl works for one. Better prices for larger runs, but regular price is set for quantity of one. So, of course, you Aaron, you expect the listeners of our show to be on the edge of this, because the people who are out there trying to get some education and trying to better their businesses are the folks who are listening to podcasts like this and going to the trade shows and going to the seminars and better educating themselves.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's great that like I said, we've got folks that are part of this community with us that know what we're talking about. So we appreciate them telling us that we're right. Terry, basically, they're telling you you're right. So,
and they didn't yell at me about the weather thing. So,
yeah, we got a great group here. We are blessed. All right. Well, Terry, I'm going to kind of keep going with this here, and I'm going to jump in with mine. So I guess it's more of a question than anything for people. And the question is, do you have a business plan? And we're talking about planning, and there's no better plan than an overall business plan. And it's something that everybody talks about. I hear it all the time. Everybody says it's a good idea. I hear people say it's a necessity. It's essential, all these great things. But in my research, i.e. me asking people, so it's not Gallup style research, but just asking people, my gut is that it's about 20% or less actually have a business plan. And to me, after talking to them, my next gut reaction is 20% of those people are lying because they know that I'm one of the proponents of business plans. So
right.
Not a lot of people have them. And the reason that not a lot of people have them is they're really hard to do. It's you have to do an honest assessment of yourself and your business. But to me, it's like, isn't your business that important to spend time on it? I think we all get really wrapped up in the day-to-day. Okay, I got to get this order out. Got to change the toilet paper roll, whatever the case may be. The type things that you're doing in your business each day, and they never get to the on their business part, and they go, you know what, we're doing okay without a business plan. Well, that's not going to last for very long, so then on the flip side of that, I've ran into some people that do have a business plan, but it's just to get a loan or just to kind of place on the coffee table. And I go on to ask them a further question. I go, okay, has anybody within your company actually read it? So,
Is it a double secret business plan?
Yeah, exactly. Where is that business plan? Does anybody know where it is? Is it something that's referenced on a regular basis, or was it done and thrown in a desk drawer somewhere and nobody actually was involved in it? You wrote it in a notebook and it's just buried somewhere, kind of thing. So, that's kind of where people seem to end up in the business plan thing. And I did a series over the summer over on my personal page, that my Small Business Saturdays that I do. And it's, it all started with the why. So I think the first thing is, can you tell me your why in less than 3 sentences? What's your elevator pitch for why you have this business, why you get up every day, why you do these things. And that's always a great place to start. And, like I said, I offered up this kind of free video series that was a 5-part plus 6 that you came and helped me do the 6th there, Terry. And, in looking at the stats from that, I had over 1,000 people watch those videos, and that's really awesome. In each of those videos, in each of the first 5, I had a little short homework assignment. I mean, it was like, you had to send me a paragraph, and in return, I gave you other things. And it was, kind of building a community, so to speak. So of those 1,000 people, any guesses as to how many, without looking at the show notes, Terry, any guesses as to how many people actually did the first homework assignment?
1,000 people, 10.
You're high by 5, so about 5. And then guess how many people got through all 5 steps?
None.
One person get through all 5 steps. And
was that your wife?
No, it was not. My wife said that'd be 2 if it was my if I count my wife too. And the best part is I'm offering up a free Amazon Echo to anybody getting put into a random drawing by just doing those 5 quick, free, easy things at the end of the videos. So the one person that finished, in fact, I think she's listening in today. I'm going to need to get her address so I can send her Echo Dot. Cindy Miles. Sorry, Cindy, if I'm calling you out here, but I'm calling you out because you know what you're doing. You're doing the right things. You're planning. You're thinking about your business. It's not this formalized document that you have to have. That's like who cares about that? What the part that matters is actually working on your business, thinking about it, doing these things. So, this. I'm not griping about how many people didn't do it. I'm not complaining about it. Honestly, I think that's more prevalent than we realize out there in the business world across the board, not just our industry. Is that people get caught up in the day to day, or they don't know how to do it, or they don't want to do it, or whatever the excuse might be. But to me, it just shows me that I got to do a better job of preaching the business plan sermon and to show you that you're not alone. Let's do this together. It will help your business. If you want to go over to my website at aaronmontgomery.info/business plan, you can catch all of those videos, get it started. Again, just want to do it together. My wife and I are still working on ours to kind of finish the process. But, every time we have an opportunity to work on it, it makes us better, and it gets us moved forward to where we want to be somewhere down the road. So there's my kind of I guess soapbox in a way about business plans, Terry.
Well, Aaron, and for the folks that do have a business plan, this is a good week to pull it out and dust it off and take a look at it and see if it's still relevant and pertinent to what you're doing. Your business may have changed substantially, and since you put that plan together 5 years ago and never looked at it, and because it's a living document, and just because you maybe have shifted a little bit, maybe that shift has been a positive thing, and it needs to be a revision in your business plan.
Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like, wow, it's a tool that you got to have. It's a little bit scary. It's a little bit hard to do, But honestly, I can't think of anybody that has ever said, "Oh, well, this business plan just slowed me down or made my business worse." It's like, what? I've never heard that. So if that's the case, please let me know.
Well, Aaron, the next thing I want to talk about is along those same lines, a little bit of self-evaluation as an owner or a manager. And Aaron, I've been in hundreds of production facilities over the last nearly 40 years, and 40 years coming up this next year, Aaron, as in the industry. So
I'm writing that down.
Yeah. But and also at trade shows, I talked to a lot of folks who either own businesses or they are employees in businesses, and we're talking about businesses, and it's usually the employees that do a little eye roll when we talk about how their business is going, and it's most common for me to see somebody that started a business. Hey, it's just me in my garage. And then my wife came on board, and then my adult child, and then the gym across the street started working for me. And then, all of a sudden you've got a business with 20, 30, 40, 50 people, and you still run it like you did when it was just you. And what I'm talking about is and the most common thing I see is micromanaging your business. And that's a pet peeve with me. I've talked about it many times before, but and here, this is for business owners out there. You don't even realize you're a micromanager. In fact, if I said it to you, you would say, "Oh no, I don't micromanage my business." Yeah, you do. And here's how you can tell. And this is something I did, Aaron, a few months ago as my 5 things, and it was if you can answer any of these questions with a yes, you're probably a micromanager. And those 5 things were: if you feel you cannot take time off work for fear the wheels will fall off in your absence, you're probably a micromanager. And here's an example, Aaron. I was running production for a very, very large screen printing company in the Midwest once, and I took a week off, vacation, went back to Ohio to see family. When I got back, one of the owners said, "Well, we didn't even need you here this past week." And I said, well, you should congratulate me for that. And he goes, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Well, when I got here 3 years ago, you couldn't leave for a day because the wheels would fall off the bus. And the fact that I can leave and everything ran smoothly, you should be giving me a raise for that."
I was going to say, that deserves a raise. So.
Exactly. So it changed his perspective a little bit because this guy was a micromanager. So the next one is your employees will not make an independent decision and defer to you for every situation. You're a micromanager if you say yes to that. You feel your employees do not care about their work or the success of the company. That's not on them. That's on you. You're a micromanager. 4th, you feel there is only one right way to accomplish every task at work. You're a micromanager. And 5th, your employees never offer suggestions to improve their own jobs or the business. That's not on them. That's on you. You haven't created an environment for them to be able to do that. So a little self-evaluation on that subject. But what I hear back from owners is, well, hey, I started this business. I'm in charge. I should be able to make all these decisions. I should be able to run the company the way I want to. Yes, you certainly have that opportunity and that ability to do that. And what I call that is eccentricities of ownership. There are certain things in every company that, hey, the owner is just like that, and you as an employee, you're not going to change that. Aaron, we had you and I both used to work for Scott Fresner at U.S. Screen Printing Institute, and before my time there, they used to bring their 7 dogs to work with them. 7 dogs. And I remember Scott telling me one time that one of their employees, a brand new employee, said, "Hey, listen, those dogs in the office are not going to work for me. So either the dogs go or I do." Well, that was his last day on the job because that was the eccentricities of ownership with them. But, if you feel like you're that person, you can do this in baby steps, create an opportunity for your employees to have input and, buy pizza and gather everybody in a room and say, tell me one thing that would make your job better. And they're going to be hesitant to do this with you if you're a micromanager, but you can kind of build that atmosphere. And what you're going to find is if you allow your employees to participate in the management and how their jobs are run, then you're gonna find that your life is much better as time goes on. And you're never going to grow your business. By the way, you're gonna reach a plateau if you're a micromanager that business is not going to grow another dollar more. So a little self-evaluation, all you owners and senior managers out there.
So Terry, when I was technically your manager,
I was the worst employee ever, wasn't I?
We always just joke about that because I was definitely not your manager. we were in it together, but I guess on paper that was the case. And
you were sales manager, I was sales dog, DAWG.
Yeah, that's right. That was what your card said. I remember that. So,
well, to all those salespeople out there, here's something as long as you're selling and selling a lot, you can get away with a lot. So,
absolutely. And I knew I couldn't micromanage my way over the top of you, so I just. So Carolyn says my dog is my only employee, so there may be some need for micromanagement in that scenario, but
right.
Terry, there was a ton of great comments that came through too. I just see if I can pop a few up, but because Eric's also asking some questions in the comment section. So we're getting all sorts of great content going on here. So you definitely can't, if you're listening to the audio version of this, you're going to have to get to our Facebook page, facebook.com/2regularguys. And the comments don't just go away after the live show's over. The comments are there, and we see stuff pop up from shows that we did 6 months ago still, where there's interactions. Somebody asked a question from our show that we did with Gordon Firemark about the copyright laws and stuff like that. And Gordon actually jumped back in and answered the question right there on the comment section. So lots of good stuff here.
That was a great show, by the way.
Yep,
if anybody wants to go back and listen to it.
Yeah,
Excellent
definitely
show.
worthwhile. So, all right. Jim says I can't get my dogs to do anything for me. Yeah, mine just barks when she's not supposed to, but that's all right. All right. So did we cover everything you needed there, Terry? I think that's it.
I think so.
Yeah. I think that's great. Okay. In the show notes, I saw the last line that was just 3 X's. So I didn't know if there was some story that we needed to talk about off air or.
I was keeping my plan open ended.
Okay, all right. I'm just making sure what that meant. Anyhow, okay, all right. So Terry, here's my next thing as far as planning. Be more customer centric, and I'm pretty sure this was something that I think it was even last year. I should have gone back and looked, but didn't have time. I think this is one of the things I'd like to see in the coming years is just for our industry as a whole to kind of be more customer focused, customer centric, and kind of get on board. I think a lot of what you talked about early on with the changes in the industry and the, how you interact with your customers. They want it now, they want one, those are all customer centric type decisions that you're making. Certainly it would be a lot easier to screen print 10,000 of the same one color job over and over again. But, that's just not where it's happening. So we want to be more customer centric here. So in the planning stages, Terry, here, this is what I want to kind of talk about. I'm doing a seminar on this topic at DAX, so it kind of really helped me be thinking about this. But I guess to start off, I think this is a way that you can also be more profitable. We are now in a sharing economy, whether we like it or not. We are in a sharing economy. What that means can be different based on who you talk to. But the fact that, I can get something and go tell thousands of people whether I love it or hate it on Facebook, where we're at right now, or wherever, that's a sharing economy. And so that's where we're at. So if we can be more customer centric as a business, we're going to be more profitable in at least 3 ways. And here are the 3 ways that I think you can be more profitable. Being customer centric is a value added service. So you can charge more for it. Like you said, a one-off direct-to-garment shirt is $20. A 10,000 piece shirt run is what? 5, 7, I don't know, and just picking a much smaller number. Let's just say that, so $20, you just have to do a lot of $20 orders. So you can be more profitable because of that. You're also going to reduce your marketing expenses, because we all know, and I think we can all agree, that doing more business with your current customers is a lot less expensive than doing more business with lots of new customers, just in that whole onboarding process and whatnot. So there's the second way. And then the third way is, and plug your ears here, Terry, you don't need salespeople anymore. No more sales dogs. Your customers become your salespeople, and they do it for free. So that's the really cool part, is so you save money in all those ways. So being more customer centric is something that I'm very passionate about, and I think it's something we need to plan for. So to finally get into the planning segment of this, the key here to me is review what your customer experience is. What are the friction points that you can remove for them? When you're turning away business, like you said, because of the minimums, is that a friction point? It seems like the minimums are a friction point for a lot of people. So let's get rid of those. Let's figure out a way to make that a profitable part of our business. Where do you have the most back and forth with your customers? Where do you experience the most misunderstandings, where you have to actually get involved in a customer service aspect? Can you fix any of those things? Can you fix the proofing process and different things like that? So that's, to me, where the planning comes into this, is to really take a really close look at your customer experience, both internally and maybe ask somebody externally to kind of give you feedback or talk to your customers. And then beyond that, the next piece of it to me is, if you are more customer centric, if you are doing more things and creating a better experience for your customers, then the next thing you got to plan is, how can you make it easier for your customers to share their experiences with others? In your marketing plan, do you have a segment in there that is about word of mouth marketing? And we talked about getting rid of your salespeople and letting your customers be your salespeople. Well, you got to have an avenue for them to do that. You have to be on social media. You have to have, give them the tools that they need to be able to share and bring people to you. So as far as planning goes, Terry, I think planning to be more customer centric can do those things if you let them.
Aaron, it's funny. I think a few years ago we had a show where we were talking about talking to customers and determined that the biggest reason that people don't talk to their customers is they're afraid of what they're going to say. So you have to if they have something bad to tell you, you're way ahead of the game to hear it, and to hear it today rather than lose business tomorrow.
No, totally. Because most of the time people won't say much. They'll just move on. You've right. broken the chain, so to speak. And so, if you can actually find out what you're doing wrong, then, as sucky as that is to take that bad information it will be very valuable for your business. So anyhow, Terry, can I share a couple of comments here real quick?
Sure. Absolutely.
Again, we're not getting to all of them, so I apologize if I missed something good and you wanted it up there, post it again for me. But Sam had said, always be open-minded and have brainstorming meetings. Even goofy ideas sometimes become money makers. One of the ideas we had over a few beers, have a Roomba for dogs that spits out hay bales. So that's a interesting one. I'd love to learn more about that.
Hey, this show developed over a couple of beers. So
that's all right. There you go.
Good job, Sam.
Crazy ideas. Let's see. So Christine Shreve said, one of the things Enmart does is offer samples to people who would test things for us and give us feedback, or sometimes we just slip a little present into an order. Sorry, got more stuff coming in. So it's slip a little something into an order for customers that has a history of creating cool items and hopes they will create something wonderful and share it with us. We're very lucky to have customers who are willing to share with us. So
awesome.
Good stuff. Here we go. This is a question for you, Terry, before you get to your next one here.
Would Terry's seminar at DAX be good for someone who doesn't do screen printing? Well, I'm going to say yes, because any knowledge of the industry that you can gain whether you're contracting to screen printers or that sort of thing. Any additional knowledge you have is going to be beneficial to you. The more you know about that process. Now, for instance, my screen printing classes, my 2-day classes, it's not uncommon at all for someone to walk in the door and say, hey, listen, I don't have any intention of doing this. I either contract out my screen printing or I own a screen printing business, but I never plan to pull a squeegee. I never plan to code a screen, but I want to understand it. So yes, I'm going to say yes, come to my seminar. Everybody come to my seminar.
Well, just the first one. The second one, there's a better seminar to hit, but we'll talk about
we
that
overlap,
later.
don't we?
Yep, we do.
Well, I'm sure it's not going to be a popularity contest, but I'm going to count.
Exactly. That will be the first time I actually do a head count, and then I come running to the other room and start dragging people out. All right, Terry, what's next on the planning wheel here?
Well, I want to talk a little bit about bonuses and rewards for your staff. There's two frames of mind on this. One is, hey, I already pay you to work here, so do your job, you know. And pardon me for that, a little extra noise there.
That's all right.
The other is, I worked with a company one time that would pay out hundreds of dollars in bonuses every week for surpassing these arbitrary goals, and it was it wasn't anything that was helping the process. Let me just say that. And so here's my take on bonuses and rewards for your staff. First of all, it doesn't have to be a lot of money. Any type of a reward to employees, all it says is, hey, we appreciate you being here. You know, gosh, Aaron, it was probably 30 years ago, and I still remember it today. Now, I've gotten cash bonuses 1,000 times. I couldn't tell you how much they were or where they came from. But I remember when VCRs were brand new, and I'm sure some people are going, what's a VCR? But I came into my office one day at Crown Favor Company, Columbus, Ohio, and there was a brand new VCR sitting on my desk. And I walked in, and the owner of the company walked in behind me and said, hey, I just want to tell you how much I appreciate you being here. And that stuck with me for 30 years. So those types of things are simple ways to tell your employees that you appreciate them. And it goes for an owner. Sometimes they don't realize how far that can go. Movie tickets, you know, handing somebody 2 movie tickets. Well, I did a survey once in my production floor. It's 75 production floor employees. And I asked them to list all the company benefits that were offered, because the owner of our company was sure that the fact that he paid for a $25,000 life insurance policy for everyone was a huge benefit to them. Not one of those 75 people listed that. But what did they list? I did. I got 2 movie tickets for doing a really good job, and it was really a big deal for me. You know, so here's the other side of the coin as well. Once you start doing some type of a bonus program, you have to keep doing it. It's like the Christmas ham. If you give a Christmas ham and next year you don't, that your employees feel like they've been slighted, because bonuses and rewards that you offer become a part of their compensation, your employees' compensation in their minds. So you know, be a little careful about what you're going to offer, because you have to keep offering it. But here's what I would do planning wise. I would set aside some cash amount that you're going to pay out in bonuses or rewards, and think a little bit about possibly doing a company-wide reward. Maybe, you know, I've given this example before. Years ago, on my production floor, everybody had a day that they got to pick the radio station or play CDs. And so I offered, because we had way more production for a particular week than we were going to ever be able to get done. So I said, hey, listen, I'll give you guys 15 brand new CDs that you can pick yourselves if we can get this production schedule done by the end of the week. Everybody in the company, everybody in production anyway, was pitching in. On breaks, the supervisors were keeping the presses running. and everybody, it was like the biggest deal in the world. This was more work than we should have been able to get done by Friday. It was done by Thursday. And why? Because I spent $150 on CDs. So it doesn't have to be a big thing. It can be a small thing, but budget for it and make sure that you are prepared to continue with it once you offer it. So there's my take on bonuses and rewards.
That's a great, and I love the kind of the stories that you tell about, that it doesn't have to be, big $1,000, it doesn't have to be thousands of dollars of this and that and the other thing. I agree. Those smaller things, the things that, where it took a little thought, a little effort, because you have to understand what it is that's important to them. So if you go out and get all of your staff Starbucks cards and none of them drink Starbucks, that's not going to do much, because that just tells them that you don't know anything about them, so you need to give them something that's going to mean something to them. At SGA this year, I was at that small business session that they had the day before the show, that I got to speak in, and the gentleman who led off the session talked about employee engagement and those kinds of things. And he's told a story about how one of the employees that he has made some comment about, the silver trash can with the little, you step on the pedal and the lid opens up, was kind of like the big time. You knew you had made it when you had a silver trash can. So guess what she had in her office the next week, when she stepped up and helped out and, did put in some extra overtime or something to get a job done. It was that silver trash can with a lid. It cost him $60, but it meant way more than $60 to her, so that's really cool. I appreciate that you brought that to the table here. So we've got some got a couple of good comments here, Terry, I want to share before I get to my next one here to kind of close us out for the day. Todd said, we found some people are happy with money they make and love when we give them a paid day off. We started paid birthdays off a few years ago, and it's been a hit. So there's doesn't Excellent, cost Todd. You anything. You give them a day off. That's a perfect idea, Todd. Thank you for sharing that. Eric shared his personal take. He says, give employees a little autonomy, a path to mastery, a sense of purpose. Promoting learning is a great way to get the mastery itch scratched. And that was in reply to, I believe, to Jeff's comment where he suggested sending people with their significant other to trade shows with a little cash to just go learn. They love the experience and they bring back knowledge to your company. That's a great point. Mm-hmm. And then Christine says, Aaron's totally right. I just wanted to say that part. No, I'm just kidding. Christine said, Aaron's totally right. Give rewards of benefits that are significant to the employees who is receiving them. If it is generic, it has far less impact. So, there's some more good stuff. I'm just going to keep going, Terry, because there are some great comments I don't want to lose out on. On each of my employees' birthdays, they get to pick a place for lunch, and I buy for everyone working that day. That's a fantastic idea, Karen. Carolyn shares dog treats, a good long walk. I do send nice extras to my customers as my salespeople. Yes, it's her employee is just the dog. I think dog treats is a very good choice. A good long walk, maybe a belly rub too. Belly rubs, I think, go a long way, at least with my dog. So. Right. All right. Before I get too much further off the rails here, Terry.
That's just for dogs, by the way. No belly rubs, anybody. We're not advocating that.
Oh, man. When we get named in that lawsuit, gosh. Good job covering my butt there, Terry. Thanks. All right. So my last thing here for planning, Terry, is to learn to say no. So I'm mainly just putting this out there for me because I need to learn this, and it's a super big challenge of mine. I personally, I'd rather fail at something than to not give it a go. But honestly, the older I get, the more I realize that that's honestly not really fair to the projects, the customers, my family, the experiences that I do want. So kind of this planning for up front, I think is going to be important. So to me, this wraps back to the business plan of your company. What customers do you need to fire? What customers do you need to say no to before you even start? So this is where it kind of comes back to planning for me, is that if you don't know who you need to say no to, what projects you need to say no to, what new jobs you need to say no to up front, then you're going to be in the boat that I find myself in a lot of times, with too much to do and not enough time to do it in, not enough time to do it really well. So if you plan ahead and you understand what it is that you really want, what it is that you need to be saying yes to, then you can also easily pick out what you need to be saying no to. And this allows you to be the best at what you do. You don't want to be just decent at a lot of things. We've talked before on this podcast. I've talked in other forums that, there's just so much noise out there nowadays. I have the ability, Terry has the ability, everybody has the ability to go out and sell to anyone, anywhere in the world, basically, in our connected economy, through Facebook, through whatever. So, there's billions of people vying for attention, basically, is what it boils down to.
Right.
So if you're not the best in your area, no one's going to notice you. You can't just yell loud enough. So Eric says, sorry, I'm squirrel. How and when do you say no? Asking for a friend. If I learn that, I will let you know, because it is definitely my worst thing that I do. And it's one of the things I would like to improve about myself for 2019. So anyhow, back to what I was talking about. You want to be the best at what you want to do. So that way you're being recognized and you can stand out. You're the best at X in my area, but then you can be recognized, and you're saying yes to all those things. I'm going to turn down this, or I'm going to nicely pass on these opportunities because they're just not what I want to be doing right now. So, I think that's kind of where the planning part comes in. Plan for what you want to do. And then also the other thing that I'm learning, that I'm working on myself, is have a plan for how you're going to say no. What is it that, you don't want to just be rude and just be like, no, I don't want to do business with you. I don't like you. Whatever the case may be, you need to understand what it is to say no. One of the things that I learned, and I realized I learned this back in high school, and I never have used it very well, but I don't know if Terry, if the DARE program, if you're familiar with that
Sure.
at all. So the DARE program back in high school, that their thing was how to say no to drugs. And, so I've never had a problem with drugs, so that hasn't been a problem for me, but there was a lesson to be learned there. And they called it the sandwich method. And it would go something like this. If you were trying to offer me drugs, Terry, it'd be, you start off with a positive, you're sandwiching the positive, and then you go to the negative, the no, and then you follow it up with another positive. So I would say, Terry, I really like you as a friend. No, I don't want to do drugs with you, but how about we go and do something else fun together? So anyhow, that's just one method. That kind of.
I thought your example was going to be rodeo related, since you were junior rodeo guy in high school.
Yeah, there was not that many lessons from that, but so Jeff's got a clear. I just want to throw this up here. Jeff's got a clear understanding of what he doesn't want in his business. And customers that only care about price. They have no concern for quality, creativity, or customer service. Absolutely. So, Jeff's got a plan. He knows what to look for. He knows how to tell them no, and that move along. And, I've gotten that a lot over my career, just to pick the gift or some of the other things that I've done. It's like, okay, this is what we do. This is all we do. This is how we do it. We're going to be great. We're going to bend over backwards for people within this thing, but no, I can't do that for you. I'm sorry. And then you go and follow that up and offer them a few people that maybe that could. Never be afraid to refer people elsewhere. That may go a long way. They may change somewhere down the road and have something that fits more into your wheelhouse. So you don't want to burn the bridge, but you do want to set clear expectations up front and turn away the business that is going to end up causing you more problems than it's worth. So.
Aaron, this comes around full circle to your comments about having a business plan, because every customer that comes to you, you should hold up that business plan to it and say, does this fit what I want to do? And especially for new businesses, it is so easy to say, I just need business. I'll take anything. But but you have to have your plan about who and what you want to be. And because if you take any and all orders, I'll take anything. It's going to be a frustrating business because you need to focus in on what you're good at and repeatability of that, so you can be efficient at it. So saying no is a hard thing, especially if you're a new business, but you got to learn to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. James Ortolani checking in here said Steve Jobs' famous quote, "I'm just as proud of the opportunities that I've said no to as the ones I've said yes to." That's it.
Wow, that's an excellent quote.
Yeah, excellent quote. Thank you, James. Good to see you. Happy New Year, by the way, James. I haven't had a
I bet it's snowing in Pittsburgh, Kansas, too. Is it, James?
We'll find out soon enough. All right, Terry. Well, I think that covers us for this year. That gives people a lot to chew on, I think, and puts us in a great place to come back next. Is it next week? Holy crap! Next week already for the new year and things we'd like to see.
Absolutely. And Aaron, before we get out of here, let's hear a word from our sponsor, Equipment Zone.
Our show today is sponsored by Equipment Zone. Go to equipmentzone.com for the Epson F2000 direct-to-garment printer. Equipment Zone is the only Epson reseller who sends a technician to every customer location for training. This is an absolutely free visit to your location. Equipment Zone is also the manufacturer of the #1 pre-treat machine in the industry, the Speed Treater TX. With no compressor and no special tanks, the Speed Treater TX is the easiest and most consistent pre-treat machine available worldwide. Go to equipmentzone.com for the Epson F2000, the Speed Treater TX, and for all your DTG inks and supplies. That's equipmentzone.com. That's equipmentzone.com.
And Equipment Zone has lots of big plans for 2019, and with a location in Franklin Lakes, New Jersey, which is a New York City area for anybody not from the East Coast, and also in Tempe, Arizona, here in Phoenix, expanding that location in Phoenix this coming year. So lots of things on the horizon that we'll be talking about.
Nice. Well, James says it's cold as heck there in Pittsburgh, Kansas. So, all right. Again, Terry, there's been so many great comments, such great feedback on the online live Facebook version here. So definitely make sure you get over there and check that out and join in the conversation, even if it's after the fact. Love to continue to keep this conversation going. Terry, I got a couple of things coming up here. We kind of already mentioned a few things here, but let me give a quick rundown of what I've got coming up here tomorrow morning at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, 8:30 Pacific time. I will be finally back. It took a little short hiatus to get through the holiday crunch. I will be back to talk about what do you need in 2019. Just kind of a open community discussion of what we need to improve on. Probably dovetail a lot of things we talked about here today. So I'd love to get your feedback and have you join in that conversation tomorrow morning. Just go over to facebook.com/aaronmontgomery.info, and it should be right there at the top. You can even ask to get a reminder. So that's 10:30 Central Time. For those of you wondering, I'm in the Central Time, so that's what I always say. But so that's tomorrow morning, Terry. And then January 10th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Central Time, I'm going to be doing a webinar for SGIA, and it's digital marketing, growing your business with social media and email marketing. So if you want to check that out, I just got a quick link to go find that. If you go to aaronmontgomery.info/digital marketing webinar, that should get you there, or you can go over to the SGIA website and look up their webinars and sign up for that. And then February 22nd at 12:30 p.m. there in Dax, Kansas City, I will be presenting Developing a Business Plan, kind of a further take on what I talked about earlier today, Terry. And then this is the one you really want to be at, because the other seminar going on at the other time is some other guy. He talks all the time. You don't need to listen to him. Hey, February 22nd at 2 p.m. Dax, Kansas City, being customer centric equals more profits. So there's also a very good seminar going on at the same time. So I'll leave that. And then lastly, I guess, Terry, I'd love for people to check out my column over in A&E Magazine. The last one that was out was the January 2019 edition that already came out. And I've got another one coming out in the March edition that'll be out late February. So that's what I've got going on. Terry, what about you?
Well, January 17th, it's way off in the future, January 2019. I'll be hosting the Epson F2100 DTG class at the ISS show in Long Beach. All new class. If you've been to this seminar in the past, all new. It's going to be more about developing your business and more than how to. And so check that out. Even if you've been to that seminar before. Saturday on the 19th, I'll be doing at the ISS show in Long Beach, a presentation called "The World Says I Should Be a Digital Decorator," and I'll also be exhibiting there with Equipment Zone in Long Beach. And January 26th and 27th, my first screen printing class of the year will be at Workhorse Products in Phoenix. And going a little further, the MBM show in Phoenix is going to be at the end of January, the beginning of February. So the day before the show opens, we'll be doing that F2100 DTG class, and I'll be doing the show as well. And then one last one, February 7th and 8th, DTG Academy is an Equipment Zone 2-day event, and that's going to be right here in Tempe, Arizona. Aaron, I'm not going to get on a plane for any of those events. I'll just be driving to Tempe from Scottsdale.
Nice. There you go.
All right.
All right. So where people find those at tour dates, right? At terrycombs.com or
Exactly right. Exactly right.
All right. Good deal. And then are you all set for your ThreadX adventure? I've got my tickets, and my wife is actually going to drive me from Phoenix to San Diego that Sunday.
Is that right? Wow. Okay. I have not. All I've done is booked a hotel for us.
Okay, good. Well, I'm flying out of San Diego directly back home, but yeah, we're going to go spend the week in Arizona first before.
Very
Friday.
nice.
So if anybody's
Very
out there
nice.
in Arizona, I'd love to catch up. Are you? And then yeah, you're going to probably need to fly directly in, right?
Right. I'm going to be doing a screen printing class at Atlas Screen Supply in Chicago on Saturday and Sunday. So Sunday night, I'll be flying directly from Chicago to San Diego.
Gotcha.
And then flying back to Phoenix when you're flying back to St. Louis, I imagine.
Yep, definitely. Okay. Well, good stuff there. Eric's got a couple of things coming up here. Aaron, Jeff asked, anyone else having sound sync issues with Aaron? Terry is in sync. Aaron is off by about half a second. Yeah, I've noticed that, Jeff. I think the internet here is a little slow, so they're trying to get it to catch up. I apologize for that.
I like the fact that I'm in sync.
Yeah.
Not the band.
All right. So Eric's got a couple things coming up here January 18th. He's got his seminar he's presenting there in Long Beach called Learning to Digitize the 2 Kinds of Embroidery Knowledge. January 19th, the next day, he's got another seminar, The Scientific Stitcher, Measurements and Testing. I think we're going to have to figure out how to get him a lab coat, or maybe he's already got one. Anyhow, Eric, it's in the works. All right, I'm writing it down right now. And then January 20th, he's going to be presenting Embroidery Pricing Models Explained. So if you just go over to issshows.com, you can check that out and get signed up for his events. I think that's everything, Terry. Have we made it?
I think so. I think we've come to the end.
One quick last note here. If you noticed, we did skip the 5 things today. We had plenty of good stuff, and we're trying to overhaul it a little bit for next year. So I've actually got a couple ideas that I need to bounce off Terry and Eric here, maybe a form on our website or something like that, because we want it to be more interactive. So start thinking of your 5 things, and you will be part of the show.
Fantastic.
All right, Terry, we've come to close another show. Thank you, everybody, for a fantastic 2018. Thank you, Terry, for being here and having another great year with me. And cheers to 2019.
Absolutely. Hey, we especially want to thank Eric Campbell, our show producer, and all the work he does behind the scenes and there in the chat and filling in for us when we when necessary. You can find him at ericcampbell.com. We also want to thank our sponsors, the Specialty Graphic Imaging Association, SGIA, and Equipment Zone. We very much appreciate your support.
Next week, Terry, we're going to be, as we've discussed, talking about 10 things we'd like to see for 2019. In fact, we're even going to get Eric involved in that. So we are looking forward to that discussion next week.
And something Eric this morning did not say no to. He said yes.
Yeah,
so,
all right.
All right. Until then, I'm Terry Combs. He's Aaron Montgomery.
And we are the 2 Regular Guys. Thank you for listening to Two Regular Guys. Check out our website at tworegularguys.com. That's the number 2, regularguys.com. You can also interact with us over at our Facebook page, facebook.com/tworegularguys, or send us a tweet, twitter.com/tworegularguys. And we have a YouTube page. You can find all that from our website, tworegularguys.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to spending some time with you again next week.